Hey guys, it's Chris from McGee with Health and Fitness The Truth, and in this video, we're gonna go over the Landmine shoulder press. There's several different ways to do it. We'll go over a couple of them. Let's check it out. Alright guys, let's jump right into cues for this Landmine shoulder press. So, we've got our barbell in our Landmine. Anytime you're lifting one end of the barbell when the other end is in the Landmine, by the way, what you've effectively done is you've lowered the percentage of the weight of that barbell that you will be lifting. So note for yourself that you are not actually manipulating a full 45-pound barbell. You're manipulating a certain percentage of that. Not quite the entirety of it. I've got a plate weight on there. If you know how much you strict press, just standing upright, you've got the barbell right here, and you just take it straight overhead. If you know, without any oomph from your legs, if you know about how much weight you put on the bar for that, take about a little more than half again as much of the size of plate weight and put that on one end. So normally I strict press with like a couple of 15s or maybe 20 pounds on either side. And for this, I'm sticking a 25 on here. I could do a 35, but I wouldn't get as many reps, okay? So that'll give you an idea about how much weight to stick on there. If you've never done it, or if you don't know how much you strict press, not a big problem. Start with the barbell itself, of course, right? And if you want more weight, just start adding on top of that. Now, if I'm bending over to pick this thing up, can I round up my back? The answer is no. I don't only use good form when I'm doing an exercise. I use good form in all of my movement. So just picking this thing up, I'm gonna keep good hip hinge mechanics. I'm not gonna slouch over with my back, right? And I'll pick this up, and just like a strict press, you're going to keep your elbow in front of you through the press and through the down part of the controlling your weight back down, okay? So you're not taking it out sideways like this, okay? And while I can do that, right, I don't recommend it still just because it's a slightly less stable position for your shoulder. It would teach you a pattern of movement that you would try to replicate in other overhead activities that I don't recommend. I recommend keeping your elbow in your shoulder in a stable position by having your elbow right in front of you, moving in that particular movement pattern. So I've got it right here. I could stand with both feet even, but an easier way to feel in balance will just be to put your contralateral side's leg in front. Contralateral meaning the side opposite the side you're lifting with. Okay, so I'm pressing with my right. I'm gonna put my left foot in front of me just a little bit. There'll be a little bit of forward lean, which will help with the fact that this is not a fully overhead movement. It can't be, right? Because you stuck a straight line into an anchor point and it's not going to grow out as you press it overhead, which means you're going to be pressing up and in front of you. So you're never gonna get quite to like a overhead press with this Landmine shoulder press, which isn't a problem. You just have to know that there's a difference. So one of the benefits to that is that you're never gonna be able to just lock out your arms overhead and allow your shoulders to therefore relax or ease the tension in your shoulders. There's always going to be some tension in your shoulders just because there's always weight displaced away from you in the front. And your shoulder's gonna have to keep some tension in it in order to keep it up, in order to keep the weight up. But here you go, it's pretty much this simple. Stick a plate weight on here, stick the barbell in the Landmine, pick it up with good hip hinge mechanics. There will be a little bit of forward lean, and just keep your elbow in front of you as you press it straight up and out. As with any push or pull, it's really common for us to compensate for how much weight we're pressing by trying to include other muscles, right? And oftentimes that looks like this. Especially in row pull movements, we tend to try to get ourselves closer to the weight or perceive ourselves closer to the weight or the anchor point by jutting our neck forward, and that could happen here as well. Even though it's not a pull, you could end up doing this and this kind of chin tuck forward lean through the cervical spine. So just keep in mind, you want your whole spine in good alignment from your sacral area all the way up to your cervical. And remember, that's a little bit of tension in the glutes so that you're not pelvic tilting top side forward. And in line of your spine, your pelvis should be right under your shoulders. Now if I were totally upright, that looks like this, right? But if I've got some forward lean, it'll look like this. My shoulders, if I draw a straight line down, are not right on top of my pelvis. But if we're drawing a straight line of the angle of my spine, my shoulders are right on top of my pelvis, especially as we consider the force that I'm generating forward and up. So that's my preferred way of doing this, but really quick, just a couple other ways of doing it. We mentioned that you could keep your feet level together. You could do that, okay? Doesn't change a whole lot. It'll cause a little bit of minor core contraction to happen because you're more easily off balance as you displace weight in front of and to the side of you without compensating for that with this split lunge. You could go from one arm to the other. So you could press, receive it with the other hand, press, press. You could turn this into a push press type exercise. You could really overload your weight volume on here and turn it into a kind of a push press, okay? Where you had your legs involved. I see a lot of shoulder press with the Landmine where you include a lunge. So not only did I get into a lunge position, but you actually lunge and press at the same time, or you lunge and then press, or you lunge, come back up and press. There's a whole bunch of different variations. There you go, Landmine shoulder press. So prime movers for any overhead press are gonna be your deltoids and your triceps. And because your elbow is pointed forward when you're driving forward and up, your primary prime mover is going to be your anterior branch of your deltoid. Your middle branch of your deltoid is also doing some work. Your posterior branch of your deltoid, not so much, okay? And your triceps are working because your elbow is going from flexed to extended, okay? Other than that, there's some things that stabilize, but let's just look at the origin and insertion points for those two muscles. So for deltoid, your anterior branch originates off the lateral half of your clavicle, aka collarbone right here. Just the lateral half, and it comes off and straight down onto the deltoid tuberosity. Okay, your medial branch, or middle branch, not medial, your middle branch originates off the lateral half of the spine of your scapula. So from here out to the acromion head. And this spine of the scapula forms the acromion head out here. So coming off there and coming down to the same insertion point as the rest of the branches of the deltoid on the deltoid tuberosity down there. Your posterior, its origin point is just the medial half of that spine of the scapula and comes out onto the same spot. So that's that cap of muscle, which is your deltoid. Now your triceps have 3 branches, hence tri. You've got a long head and a lateral head and a medial head. Your long head originates from this infraglenoid tubercle, as it's called, and with the rest of the triceps inserts on the olecranon process this end of your ulna, the pinky side bone of your hand. Up at the elbow, it's a sharp bone, right? And that's the insertion point for all the tricep branches. So your long head is here. Your lateral head originates, see this groove? I don't know how well the camera can pick up this groove that's right down the posterior side of the top part of the humerus. Is it able to focus on it? Okay. So just above that, right in here, is where your lateral head originates, and it comes down and inserts onto the same spot. And then your medial head, it is deep to both of those branches, and it just originates right against the shaft of the bone. It's distal or further away from your shoulder, and it's distal like third or half, okay? And of course, just inserts onto the same olecranon process. And that is the origin and insertion points of the prime movers, your deltoids and triceps. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully that one's helpful. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications if you want to continue to get the good education that we're putting out here. We're gonna eventually have a full database of just about every exercise you can imagine that you would do in a gym, all right? Dumbbells, barbells, bodyweight calisthenics, all of it. We'll do all of it. Hope you guys are having a good one, and I will see you in the next video.